Hi. Uh, Today our topic is the randomized quicksort. Okay. So before going to discuss the randomized quicksort or the analysis of the randomized quicksort, we have to check that why we require the randomized form of the quicksort. Okay. So let us firstly discuss the analysis or time complexity analysis of quicksort algorithm. After that, automatically we will find the necessity of going for randomized version of quicksort, right? Okay. So just for a revision, quicksort takes the help of another function which is known as partition. Okay. So we have not used here the whole partitions, but this partition will also divide our input into two halves. Okay, not the equal halves. Obviously, the pivot element we have considered as the last. Here, A is the input array, P is the first index, R is the last index, and X equals to AR. That means we are considering X is the pivot element, which is the last element of the array, right? Okay. Then we have considered one variable I equals to p minus 1, all of you are aware. Then for j equals to p to r minus 1, that is we will execute to check whether there is any element aj which is less equals to the pivot element or not. Okay. If yes, then we will increment this variable and we will exchange the values ai, this one, with the aj, right? And after executing the whole loop, outside of the loop, we will exchange the values ai plus 1 with ar. Okay, here since our topic is the randomized quicksort, therefore we are not considering an example to execute this function, but you can believe me that it works and it is a very good function. Okay, so return I plus 1. So here obviously the value I plus 1 will be returned, which is the position of the pivot element, and all of you are aware that the pivot element will be placed such a way that all the elements less than the pivot element will be in the left side, all the elements greater than the pivot element will be in the right side, if we consider that all elements are distinct for the time being. Okay, right. Then from this partition algorithm, after partitioning the input array, what we will do, we will write the quicksort algorithm with the input array A, starting index P, end index R, and this is the condition for trueness of the input. Q is the partition APR, that means this I plus 1 will be returned here. Then we will call the same function, that is the recursive function with A, the input array, P to Q minus 1, that is up to or previous to the pivot element. Okay. Then again we will call the quicksort algorithm with A, Q plus 1 to R. And we know that this quicksort algorithm executes very well and it sort the elements. Right? Now our target is to analyze the quicksort, and hence why we will find the reason that why we require the randomized quicksort algorithm. Okay, right. So here you check that the quicksort calls two recursive definitions or equations. Okay, so without we can erase this one and we can write the time complexity of quicksort is like this. So we can write that if Tn is the time complexity of the quicksort, then we know that it will be in worst case T0, that is the left partition will not contain any element and the right partition will contain always the n minus 1 number of element, and theta of n for this partition algorithm. Okay. So you know, whenever we have the discussion for quicksort, we know that quicksort exhibits worst case time complexity when the array is already sorted. Now we will find that what is the reason. Okay. Right. So if this value is always the first element, that is the pivot element is the first element, then the 1 or 2 or 3 it will be returned. So that means the left partitions will contain 0 number of elements, right partition will contain n minus 1 number of elements. So if we execute, if we iterate this value, what we will get? Again t0 plus t0 plus t n minus 2 plus theta of n minus 1 plus theta of n. Okay. Similarly, if we go on this t0, we can consider this is 1. So it will be n into t0 plus here theta 1 theta 1 to theta n. And if we consider theta means theta 1 means some constant to 1 and all these, then what we will get? This is n plus a value which is order of n square. Sorry, it will not be theta, it will be order of n square. Okay. So here, since 1 plus 2 plus 3 up to n, the sum is n into n plus 1 by 2. Okay. So here it will be order of n square. Therefore, from here we can say that the time complexity or the worst case time complexity of quicksort is of order n square, right? Okay. Now, what will be the best case? Here, again we are aware that when the partition is always equal, that is always the pivot element will be placed into the array such that the left hand and the right hand all are in equal volume. That means the Tn will be equals to 2t n by 2 plus theta of n for this partition array. Okay. If we apply the master theorem, we can get that this value is theta of n log n. Easily we can find this. So we are not going to find or derive the equation or solve the equation. We can say that the time complexity or the best case time complexity is order of n log n. There are some interesting features also. If there is a balanced partition always, balance means suppose always it is divided into say 2:8 ratio. Let always the input will be divided into 2:8 ratio. It may be anything 1:9, 3:7, that is fixed, balanced. Then also we can write that this value will be, the equations will be Tn equals to T of 2n by 10 plus T of 8n by 10 plus theta of n for partition. Okay. If we draw the recursive tree for this, then what we will get? N is 2n by 10, 8n by 10, then it will be 4n by 10 square, it will be 16n by 10 square, similarly it will be 16n by 10 square, it will be 64n by 10 square and so on. Okay. So what will be the ith term or terminating conditions? If we consider that this is obviously since 8n by 10 this is the large value, therefore this subtree will go longer, okay, than this. So if we consider 8, then 8 squared, then 8 cube and so on, it will be just like this, that n by 10 by 8 to the power I is equals to 1, that will be the terminating condition. Okay. So if we consider that ith term is the terminating term, then n by 10 by 8 to the power I equals to 1. And we know the solution will be equals to I will be equals to log of n base 10 by 8. So we can write this is equivalent to theta of log of m, because this is base 2 and we know that it will be log 2 by log 10 base 8, and which is a constant. Therefore we can write that I will be equivalent to theta of, or the bound will be theta of log of n, and from the recursive tree we can say that the time complexity will be again theta of n into log of n. So this is very interesting property, that not only always equal half, if the partition is a balanced partition, then also quicksort will exhibit best case time complexity, and that is theta of n log n. Okay. Now the question is, what will be the average case time complexity? Right? We know the best case, we know the worst case. Now the question is that what will be the average case time complexity? So here we cannot say that average case means best case plus worst case divided by 2, obviously not. What is the meaning of average case? Average case means we have to consider all the different events and we have to take the sum and divide by the number of events, right? So here you think that why we are getting the worst case and the best case for the same kind of inputs, or not the inputs but the same algorithm, right? So here again, worst case means the left partition is containing 0 element, that is the pivot element is being placed here, and all the n minus number of 1 elements are in the right side. Best case means pivot element is being placed here, n by 2 number of elements are there, n by 2 number of elements are there. Let us consider p is 1, so here n minus 2 something like that, but the order is n by 2 minus 1. Okay? Right. Now consider the average case. We can find that when p is here, p is here, p is here and all these, right? So we can say that our algorithm or the quicksort algorithm is fully dependent on the position of the pivot element, and if the position of the pivot element is known to us, then we will not be able to say that this is average case, because if it is always divided or divide the input into two equal halves, it will automatically be the best case. If it is 1 is to n minus 1, it will automatically be the worst case. Okay. So hence we have to follow the quicksort algorithm with a updated version which is known as randomized version. Randomized means, see that the pivot element is playing the role to decide what will be the complexity or how the quicksort or this algorithm exhibits its effectiveness, right? So if we can do something where this p will not be previously known to the algorithm, that means whenever we are sending the sorted list, so we know that always p will be placed into the first position. Okay. So here, without guarantee or without giving any guarantee to this that p will be always placed into this, if we can write an algorithm, then there is a chance to get the average case, or the algorithm will not be input dependent, right? So then what to do? Just we will do a modifications here, and that modification or that kind of algorithm is known as randomized algorithm. Okay. So before going to discuss the randomized quicksort, just give a look to the randomized algorithm. There are two kinds of randomized algorithm. One is LaVegas and another is Monte Carlo. Okay. These are the groups, LaVegas and Monte Carlo. So in LaVegas means always we will get the correct output. Okay. And in Monte Carlo, though it is very less, but sometimes we may get some incorrect output. So these are two different kinds of randomized algorithms. One is LaVegas and another is Monte Carlo. Actually these are deterministic, and here we may get sometimes some incorrect output for the same instance. Okay. Right. So those who are very interested to go for, they can just go through any book and they can find some more differences between the LaVegas and the Monte Carlo randomized algorithms. Okay. So here our target is to discuss the randomized quicksort, therefore we will concentrate on this only. Okay. Then what to do? See here, we will just modify this version with x equals to AR. We are considering the last element as the pivot element. So before doing this, just we are erasing the indices here. What we will do? Let any value, let k equals to random p to r. So that means we will choose any random value within the range p to r. Okay, and we will replace, interchange the position of A, K and A, R. Okay? We will replace the position or interchange the position of AK and AR. Then we will consider X equals to AR. Now think about that. Suppose this is a sorted array, but since we are randomly selecting one element or one value here, which is K, and if we replace this value or interchange the value AK and AR, we cannot guarantee that after exchanging again it will be the sorted list, right? So if we cannot give the guarantee that it is a sorted list, obviously there will be no chance to guess the worst case time complexity. After that, we will select X is the last element, the pivot element, and we will go for all these. Okay. And also, just here we can write this the randomized version of the partition, and similarly we can write the randomized quick sort as the same. Just we will call the value if P is less than R, then instead of partition we will call the randomized partition. Okay, and all other will remain same. So it will be randomized quick sort with A, P and Q minus 1. Here this is Q. For the randomized quick sort with A, Q plus 1. All others remain same except this. Okay, right. So from here we can at least say that there is no guarantee of getting the best case or worst case. Okay, it may happen, but we cannot guarantee that for a particular instance always we will get 1 is to n minus 1 or always we will get n by 2, right? Okay. So I am erasing this. Just keep a note here that partition and the quicksort algorithm. Okay, right. Now we will go for finding the time complexity analysis of this randomized version. Okay, so here what we did, Q is the position of the pivot element. Okay, since we cannot give the guarantee that always it will be 1 is to n minus 1 or n by 2 or n by 2, therefore we can write the recursion as PQ plus T n minus Q plus theta of n. Okay, right? So here Q is the number of elements in the left side, and n minus Q minus 1 is the right side, and theta of n is for partition algorithm. Clear? Now if we have to find the worst case time complexity, so obviously it will be the maximum of all these. So what we will do, we can write that the worst case time complexity is, we can write this will be the max of maximum of 0 Q this. Okay, so maximum of Q varies from, this is not a maximum value of TQ plus Tn minus Q minus 1 plus this. Okay, so here we can write this. Now if we go for the substitution method, then we can consider that let Tn is big O of n square and hence it is Cn square. Now you can ask that why we have considered the substitution as the n square, because our target is to find the worst case time complexity, and we have some prior knowledge that the worst case time complexity of quicksort is order of n square. Hence we are considering that it may be equals to big O of n square, and hence Tn is less equals to some constant into n square. Now if we put this value, what we will get? Tn is less equals to maximum of 0 this c q square plus c into n minus q whole square plus theta of n. Okay, so cq square plus cn minus 1 whole square. So here we can write that this is equals to c into max 0 this q this one q square plus n minus q minus 1 the whole square plus theta of n. Okay, and we are very much aware that this kind of equations exhibits the optimum solution at the end. That means when q equals to 0 or if q equals to n minus 1. So we can prove this, but since this is beyond our scope to go for derivation, that why this is, because if we have the idea of derivatives and finding optimum values, then easily we can find that this kind of x square plus y square something like that, x square plus something r minus x whole square exhibits the optimality either endpoint, that is at 0 and n minus 1. Okay, so if we put this value either 0 or n minus 1, what we will get? We can get that this is equals to or less equals to some constant, let q equals to 0, so 0 square plus n minus 1 whole square plus theta of n, which is a order of n square. So we can say that this is order of n square. Therefore, we can say that the worst case time complexity of randomized quicksort is again order of n square. Okay. Now we will go for finding the average case or the expected running time. Similarly, we can say that the minimum value, that is the best case, we can get when q is at middle. That we can also find. That is the optimality, that means maximum, we can go for when q is either at endpoint, q this value is minimum when q is at the midpoint n by 2, that we can prove. And hence the best case, again time complexity will be 2t n by 2 plus theta of n, which is order of n log n. Okay, but how to find the expected running time of this? So here why we are using the expected running time? Because we have exchanged the position of the pivot element, and therefore we cannot give any guarantee that always this particular events will happen. And since there is no guarantee, therefore instead of using the term average, we are using the term expected running time. Okay, right. So before going to this, we have to check that which one is actually making an effect or playing the vital role for finding the running time. So here you see the pivot element, here we are finding in if something like that x is less equals to aj, like this. Okay, then we are placing the value so that some elements will be in the left hand side and some element will be in the right hand side, right? So then therefore this is the main thing, that how many times this comparison is being done. Okay, so if we say that theta n is the time complexity for the partition algorithm, theta n is the time complexity for this partition function or algorithm, then how many times this quicksort is calling the function partition, and for each call of this partition there is a comparison between these elements, right? Now if we say that theta n is the time complexity for partition and x is the total number of comparison that is being done in a quicksort algorithm, right, then we can say that the time complexity is order of n plus x, right or not? So if x is the number of comparisons required for an instance in quicksort and n is the time complexity for partition, then the time complexity of the quicksort algorithm will be order of n plus x. So our target is to find this value. Okay. What is x? X is the total number of comparisons required in quicksort. Okay. So then we have to find this value, that how many comparisons we require in quicksort. Okay. So before going to this, we have to consider, or let us define that, we are considering some values like this. Let AP plus 1, AP plus 2, AR be the inputs. Okay. Then we are considering that Zi, Z1, Z2, Zn, okay, be the elements. We are defining another set A or the input array as Z1, Z2, Zn, where Zi represents the ith smallest element. Now think about that. We have not sorted. This is the input array A. We are just defining this the same set as Z1, Z2, Zn, where Zi represent the ith smallest element. So let this is the fifth smallest element. Okay. Let AP plus 1 is the fifth smallest element. Therefore, Z5 will be equals to AP plus 1. Okay. That does not mean that we have placed all the values in sorted order. So here Z5 will represent this. Clear? So we are defining a set like Z1, Z2, Zn, where Zi represent the ith smallest element of the list. Okay. And we are defining a set Zij, where we define the elements as Zi, Zi plus 1, Zj. That is inclusive of Zi and Zj. Okay. So we are considering a set Zij which is containing the elements Zi to Zj. Right? Okay. So now the question is, whenever we are applying the quicksort algorithm here, whenever we are applying the quicksort algorithm, we are calling the partition, that may be 4 partitions, that may be the partitions algorithm that we have used, both are nearly doing the same thing. The question is that how many times this Zi will be compared with Zj, right? The question is that how many times Zi will be compared with Zj in the whole execution of quicksort. That is the main thing, right? Now if we can find, you can think that why we are asking the question, because if we can find that Zi is being compared with Zj with some value, then we can say that Zi plus 1 will be compared with this, Zi will be compared with Z plus 1 and all these, so many. Okay, so all the elements will be compared with this, and if we take the sum of all these, then we can find the total number of comparisons that is required in quicksort algorithm, execution of quicksort algorithm, right? So it is very important to find that how many times Zi will be compared with Zj. Okay. Then let we are defining a random indicator variable xij, okay, which is denoting a value I. This I is true if Zi is compared with Zj. Think about it. So we are considering an indicator random variable which is denoted by I. I is true, that is 1, if Zi is compared with Zj. Right? Okay. So this I may vary from 0 to n. The Z may also vary from 0 to n or n minus 1. Here also 0 to n minus 1. That is also 0 to n minus 1. Now if we can find this value, this xij, then we can say that total number of comparison required in quicksort is equals to sum of I equals to 1 to n minus 1, sum of j equals to I plus 1 to n x ij. Right? Just think. If xij represents the xij represents the number of events where zi is compared with zj, right? Then total number of comparisons will be for all I and all j. If I varies from 1 to n minus 1, obviously j will vary from I plus 1 to n. So if we can find this value, then from here we can replace this and we can find the time complexity of the quicksort, or expected running time of the quicksort, right? So now our problem is to find the value of x here. Okay, so let us do this. So we can say the expected value of x is equals to expected value of this xij, where I equals to 1 to n minus 1, j equals to I plus 1 to n, right? So then we can write this is equals to sum of expected value of x ij. Again, this value is I equals to 1 to n minus 1, j equals to I plus 1 to n. Right? Now what is this value? Expected value of ij means the probability of getting the event xij, right? So here we can write that this is equals to sum of the probability of xij, or we can say that the probability of zi is being compared with zj. Okay, so instead of writing the event this, we can write the probability that j is compared with jj. Okay, so if we can find this value, then we can find x. So here we can write that the total number of comparison required is sum of I equals to 1 to n minus 1, j equals to I plus 1 to n, the probability that j is compared with jj. Okay, now let us try to find this probability. The probability that j is compared with jj is equals to what? Now think very carefully. Let this, okay, a1 or ap plus 1 ar. Let this is the set of elements, and we have written zi zj for the simplicity, so anything like it. Now if we ask the question that when these two will be compared and how many times, okay, what will be the maximum number of comparison will be made between ap and ar. Now if ar is the pivot element, then only there is a chance that it will be compared with any one of these elements, right? If AR is not a pivot element, then it will never be compared with these elements. Okay? So what we are doing, we are just comparing the pivot element with the other elements. So if either AR is the pivot element or AP is the pivot element, then only AP and AR will be compared with each other. Clear? Now the question is that how many times? It will be compared only once in the lifetime of the execution of quicksort. Why? Now see, if either AR or AP is the pivot element, let AR is the pivot element, and obviously it will be compared with AP once. Then after that, AR will be placed in its proper positions. Now whenever AR will be placed in its proper position, after that the left partitions will be considered for the input in the quicksort. Right partitions will be considered as the input of another quicksort, that is another call of quicksort, and AR will never be executed in any one of these two, right? So therefore AR will not have any chance to again being compared with AP or any other elements. So in the lifetime of quicksort, these two will be compared if and only if either AR is pivot element or AP is pivot element, and it will be compared at most once, as if any one of these two are pivot element, it will be placed in proper positions and it will be never called in any of the recursive calls of quicksorts. Clear? So we are having at most one chance to be compared. Okay? At most. Think it. So therefore we can write this probability that Zi is being compared with Zj is the probability that Zi is the pivot element plus the probability that Zj is the pivot element. Okay? Now, since we are considering a normal distribution where all the inputs are independent, right? Therefore, to choose a particular element as the pivot element will be with the probability 1 by n. So here n means we have considered I to j, zi to zj. So j minus I plus 1. Within this range, think about, we have considered j to zj. Okay, so we are having this much of elements. So to select that j is the pivot element among all these is 1 by j minus I plus 1. Okay. Similarly for this, the probability of choosing that zj is the pivot element is j minus I plus 1. Right? So you can say that the probability that Zi is compared with Zj is equals to 2 by Z minus I plus 1. Okay? Right? Now if we place this value in our expected E of x, then we can get the value of x. So we will substitute this value here. So what we will get? Expected value of x is equals to sum of this I equals to 1 to n minus 1, j equals to I plus 1 to n, 2 by j minus I plus 1. Okay? Right. So, by changing the limits, here we can write that I equals to 1 to n minus 1. Here we can write k equals to 1 to n minus I 2 by k plus 1. Okay? So we have considered j minus I equals to k. Therefore, here we will get j minus I equals to 1 to n minus I. Right? So, then what you can write? we can change this value from k equals to 1 to n minus I to a large value, maybe k equals to 1 to n. Then since all these are positive values, therefore if we extend this limit 1 to n, automatically the next term will be higher than this. So we can write this is less than I equals to 1 to n minus 1, k equals to 1 to n 1 by k. Okay, let this is 2, not 1. For the simplicity we are considering 2 by k, but we have removed this 1. Okay, what is the sum of this? We know this is equals to I equals to 1 to n minus 1. This value is order of log n. Okay, this is the series of logarithm. Now if we execute I equals to 1 to n minus 1, we go of n log n, that will be order of n log n. And hence this is the total number of comparisons required for quicksort. Okay, so what you can say, that x is the expected value of x is order of n log n. Therefore the time complexity of quicksort is, or randomized quicksort is, order of n plus x, that is equals to order of n plus n log n, and hence it will be order of n log n. Therefore we can say that the expected running time of randomized quicksort is order of n log n. Okay.